to be a finger warm-up and a guitar warm-up for the day. So it's really very interesting, so stick around. 2E and a T E and a 4E and what's on the menu this morning is we are going to come back to, at the tail end of this session, we're going to come back to some Ted Green style finger stretches that we have been engaging with in the Ted Green chord chemistry series right here at Jason Carey Guitar. And we're going to put those to work to make some melody in a finger style way. We're just going to approach it with bare skin. Some of us don't maintain, some of us do not maintain fingernails on the picking hand. And that's okay. And I prefer the sound of having fingernails for the purpose of attacking the strings on my picking hand. But it's not always the case. I don't always manage to keep those. Sometimes I'll mandolin some of them off, or they break. And 1E and the fingers 1 and 2 will stretch. 10, 12, go. But anyway, the trick is to enjoy finger style, whether you're a fingernail player or just a finger tip player. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. So, good morning, Dan, Mr. Husband, Arthur Ballington. So we have someone from Kathmandu, from Nepal, from Moksha, what a great place to be from. And then we have another from Egypt here this morning. Arthur, good morning, kind sir. Mark, smashing the like button, doing the housekeeping, light housekeeping. Good morning, Raul. Yeah, here we go. Seeing the love. Someone's really kind of working that slider there. Get it. All right. So I think this is already kind of burning my hands a little bit, so I've got to stretch. We're close enough to the 15-minute marker where I'm just going to go ahead and get us a good stretch going. So let's see what we've got here, shall we? So we've got a straight elbow, and then we've got to just pull this back for 15 clicks. Nothing serious. Nothing serious. We're not doing the kung fu things. Jill, I see you there. Jill, good morning. Thank you for tuning in again today. I hope you're benefiting from this, and I hope your hands are doing well. Tango Rhythm Official, good morning. I see a nice wave button there. Super. So we're just working on the stretch. Just working the stretch, just quick and simple. I don't want to introduce any micro tears, so what I'm doing here is just kind of keeping things oxygenated by breathing, and then good posture is important to me to. What I've found is I've been sustaining, I know it sounds weird, I know it sounds completely nuts, but I've been sustaining workplace injury, because of the amount of time that I play the guitar. As a guitar practitioner, as guitar players, I have to ask myself, what do guitar players do? And then we play the guitar. I'm going to rewind for a minute here and ask, why do I play the guitar? Why do I play the guitar? Is it like a piece of my identity? Do I need it to inform who I am as a person? And geez, I hope not. But I am a guitar player. That's a large part of who I am. So and I'm sure it's a large part of who you are. I want to keep this healthy, so the easiest thing I can address right now immediately is to the self-care, the physical self-care piece of it is the stretching. So I have to do yoga in the morning, and I have to do yoga at night. I'm going to do 20 minutes here and there, 20 to get started, 20, 30, 20 to get finished up. And then what happens to me, because I sit like this, right? So you'll see me right now sitting direct to camera. I missed Poland. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, right on. All right, so now, just to keep my body moving correctly, what I'd like to do is start shifting things a little bit. All right, so this is how I'm going to contain that. So my legs are going this way, my body's going this way. So I'm changing postures. Okay, it's kind of important. You know, it's not really glamorous, but it's important to know about. Specifically for me. Right, so here we go. And fingers 2 and 3 and 4 on 10, 11, and 12. And we'll continue on. 10, 11, and 12. If you can't see it, that's just alternate positions that I've picking it. 1E and a 2E and you know what to do. Oh, good question. Who's playing along with us? Yeah, Dan's got a thumbs up for you. You know I am. Sky is not a player yet. Just practicing, but getting there. Yeah, absolutely. Watch my recordings and you know. Yeah, Mr. McQuinn is just on fire. Guitar is another language for expression. Correct. Relation and connection to yourself and the world around you. So what happens to the people who play this, like are lifelong practitioners? You know, what happens to the people like Andre Segovia, who thinks, you know, when he reaches 90s, he's still finding new ways to create new tone, playing for an entire lifetime. So you maintain that neuroplasticity, you maintain that connection with the world that, you know, sort of only, you know, high-level professional people might really enjoy. So let's take a look at this. Fingers 1 and 2 and 3, 10, 11, and 12. 1 E and 2 and a 2 E and a 4. Very simple. Words, God. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, staring at your fretboard isn't always that good. It's not a good idea. So you'll notice that frequently I don't look at my guitar neck. I would encourage you. So I had someone early on in my life probably realized that that was going to be a problem for me because I have this obsession with just a 110% kind of person. And probably this tutor knew that about me, recognized that, and knew I was going to spend some time. So he encouraged me to practice with my eyes closed, or I don't really need to look at the guitar fretboard because my fingers can literally feel the way around the guitar neck. You can feel with your fingers where they are, how close they are to each fret. You can feel like where you are roughly on the guitar neck through gross motor skill indexing. Right, so I know right here I'm in position number 1, right here. If I'm on this guitar, I know if I'm on the butt, if I reach the butt of the guitar, I know that I can reach 9th position with my index finger. So I know right away with a little bit of a lean back, right? It's almost like a quick first finger stretch. So there are these landmarks where we can sort of like, each instrument has their own sort of like intricacies that we can become familiar with. It's worth it to me to work on, let's say yoga, for example, or core strengthening, so that I can sit upright and I'm not slouched over my guitar. I used to, in university, one of my good friends, his name was Doug. And so fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So Doug used to sit like this. You know, he used to sit like this. And then I hunched over the guitar, and I'm not sure, I just only can imagine that it would be like a really serious, we just open up, if it just didn't play, one E into two E into three E into four, but it looked really cool on stage. It really looked like he was engaged in the moment. But I think just working on that 9, 10, 11, 12, that 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise, there are all kinds of these permutations. So what am I doing? Why am I doing these things? Is my thumb enjoying the feel of the back of the guitar? Can my thumb kind of improve its positioning so that it more equally distributes power throughout the front of the fret jam? Am I cognizant of the feel of the finish on the back of my guitar neck? Am I breathing correctly still? Can I observe all of these? How many of those things can I observe at once in real time before I start to lose, my ability to continue moving forward with the musical line that I'm practicing at the moment? So sometimes, I just wonder what it is that I'm sure I've heard this from hundreds and hundreds of in-person students over the years, and some have this like existential crisis. Some of us wonder, what it is we're doing and feel like it might be a profound waste of time. And that's an actual legitimate concern, because we have to have something to trade. You're either buying or selling, right? And so what are we doing with this time? Like, what is the point of this time? To become proficient in the art, the fine art of guitar practice. If I play on Carnegie stage, if I'm getting to that point where I'm touring the planet, what's the goal there? What is the goal there? Is it to commune with the entire energy of the audience in the moment? Those moments are fleeting, I think. So fingers 1 and 2 and 3 stretch forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, here we go. So we're using 9, 10, 11, and 13. So here's another guitar posture that I like to, just check out once in a while. Sometimes this is a posture that I can use. I have to use a strap because I'm pushing and pulling with the guitar strap sometimes to reach some of these intervals or some of these finger stretches really cause some contorted sort of posturing. And that's okay, right? So we don't live here for the entire period of time. What we do is we get in and out of these postures. Let's say to make it, we'll look at this in this melody. So this upcoming melody, these finger stretches are specifically designed to give us access, ease of access, lower the border, lower the barrier for access to songs that are more, so quote-unquote complicated. Complications are all relative to where we might be at any one given moment. So even though I've played for decades, there are still going to be complications for me, and there are a lot of complications for a person like me who got tons of more complications than not. Like for the example, like here's a complication. Like how do you, and I don't know how all of you are doing this, but every day, every weekday morning at 7:30, how do you even accomplish getting here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m.? That's a complication. To me, that's something that was, that needed to be overcome to get here. So that's huge. That's huge to me. To me, that's like speaking volumes of. All right, enough talking. So fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll stretch it back and kick it back to. Let's go ahead and just get posture just checked here. Fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I'm kicking it back this time. We've already stretched the fourth finger. Now I'm stretching the first finger. After this pass, I'm going to just reintroduce the stretch, the forearm stretch, simple forearm stretch. I should really get into the forward bend, you know, like giving your lumbar some relief. But you can start looking at your own yoga programs if you want. To which I would highly recommend. So fingers 1 and 2 and you know what to do. And if you're new here, you can start by bringing a guitar. And we all personally invite you to join us because we're all with guitars. Well, many of us are with guitars in hand. And we meet here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time this time of year. And do the things like breathing, the things like stretching, the things like tuning up, and continuing to do those things that we don't typically expose our audience to. The audience doesn't typically get exposed to this kind of I think we'll call it a performance anyway. It's still a performance even though there may not be a typical audience. But even if there's no audience, I'm always imagining an audience. I'm always doing the creative visualization. That's so huge for me because if I did not do that, when I get in front of an audience, if I didn't imagine them every single note, I might have a panic attack. I might just fully whoa. I mean, there's nothing saying I wouldn't put my guitar down and just run from the stage. I mean, I hope that wouldn't happen, especially if concert tickets were purchased. But it is one of those things that we use to prepare ourselves, our minds, we prepare for the audience. And that's one of the things that we're here to do, I believe, is to conserve all of humankind that preceded us through the context of the things that have come to us down the generations, intergenerationally from folk transfer is a good way of transferring the thing. So like what we're doing today is we might consider this folk transfer. So this would be the unorganized, sort of like the natural way to share the thing. You know, like I'm coming out of my cave and I say to my cave dwelling buddy, Ooga Booga, and that he knows that to me like, okay, now I need to sharpen my spear so I can go with him up front. And so I wouldn't have known unless he told me to put it, right? So now I know I need to sharpen my spear because it might need it to be sharp so that it doesn't bounce off the prey. So whatever it is, that folk transfer is supremely important. But then there's also this catalog of breadth of human knowledge that's contained in a repository of music notation manuscripts. There's some very high-level papers, and we want to get in the minds of those people. So, like Fernando Sor and Jim Paul and Martino, all of those players that preceded us. It's good to know how to read probably at some point. Not essential, you know, but you know, probably worth it. So where were we at? I'll get off on a little talking spree. Let's check in on some of these comments. Person yoga. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. My daughter went to Bali last year to come here and start to shoot really good. Good. Good for you, man. Right on. Oh, yeah. That would be a great thing. If you can email me that link, we'll share it to the community tab. The Segovia Masterclass, Raul, that's really cool. There's nothing more blasphemous than an electric guitar tuned up too high. Frank Zappa. We'll get on traveling in the van, and we'll put the Bluetooth on or whatever, and it's an apostrophe overnight sensation. We've been doing a tremendous amount of listening to that. Some really cool stuff. Lovely Zappa connection. I didn't bend that much. My wife and I used to do the PX90 workout, and the yoga was by far the hardest. It's a great workout. See that you will ever see. Alright, let's see, anything going on here? Tired, good for you. Got it. Hey Mark, take care, man. We'll see you again soon. All right, so here we are we did the fingers 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and do we didn't do fingers, did we do 2 and 4? We did. I don't feel like we did this one yet. I'd like to introduce some new stuff. I don't know how you guys feel about some new stuff. I was thinking maybe we could start with a couple of new things tomorrow. Let's keep on with the finger stretching. So I just wanted to get this because later on today, just in the next 15 minutes or so, we're just working on getting from this G here. Mountains was to have a big salt deposit, and so we worked on these particular programs. So we're getting ready for the record for the recording of the album, and I've got 80 pounds of gear on my back, and we're up in the mountains, and we're recording. We've got all this sound audio equipment, and we've got these big, dead cats, and all this audio equipment we set up in laptops and audio capture devices. Sleeping on rocks overnight in the middle just to get there. And we got some really, really great recordings, some wind gusts, some mountainous recordings. Those are actual field recordings that we made for the album, right? So those took a tremendous amount of effort to get. You can hear that in the chorus. The song is actually played, it's written in Dad Dad. So the fingerings look a little bit different, and they sound a little different with the Dad Dad. It's really a great song. I'd like to recut it at some point, but it's good for when it was released, I think. But the chorus, you hear all of that mountainous sort of ambience in the background. So if you hear it, I'd love to know whether you can hear it or not. All right. So let's take a quick look at this stretch, and then so I'm really working on trying to get to this E minor stretch right here. And what it is, it's the E minor, the E low, E the bass, the A, the 4 of the E, and then the B, and then the D right back here on fret 3 on the B. So we have fret 7, and then we're reaching fingers basically with 4 and 2, and then finger 1 on fret number 3 on the B, right? So 2 is on fret 4 on the G. 7 on the D, 4 on the G, finger 1 on the D. I think I said that correctly. And then we drop the bomb here. Right, so that's what we're looking for. We're pretty much looking for this chord shape that transitions to this chord shape. With the common tone of that B note stays common, right? So I have to remember where I'm trying to transition from. The rest of it's pretty easy. It's like part where we actually have to go back from here to here. I don't know how to get this on camera all that way. Here we go. But I have to get transition to that E chord before I play that G. That should have been, that pickup note should have been that E note, right, so that E chord. And then, so you see what I mean? So I have to work out these, stretches, right? So these stretches are somewhat customized to my goals as a, as I, what am I, in gear acquisition mode or whatever. Assume I'm collecting gear so that I can, be a filmmaker. I'm collecting gear so I can be a rock climber. I'm collecting gear so I can be a house builder. I'm collecting gear so I can be a, commercial diver. Whatever the thing is, I'm collecting gear right now in the way that it's fundamentally technology, guitar technology. So, which is human technology, I think. It's basically fingers. So I need to get that stretch from 4 to 3, 4 to 2. So that's a 2. You can see that there are 2 frets in the middle here, pretty easy to see. And then that justifies this stretch right here. So this is what I'm going to do just to work out my hand so that when we get to this in the next 5 minutes, that we'll be prepared to actually reach that E minor, 7, 11 chord. Right, all right. 1 E and a 2, so fingers 2 and 4 on 9 and 12. So 1 E and a 2 and a T E and a go. Hey Sue, I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't realize you were here. So thanks for coming, Sue. I hope I didn't miss you. It looks like you might be already on the road. But this is really kind of giving my fingers a little bit of a workout here. I'm really focusing on just getting long, clear tones. Just making the thing happen. Just getting that stretch done. After this, I'm going to even it out by stretching fingers 1 and 3 in the same way, using the same methodology. 2 frets skipped between each digit, between each distant phalange. So we have this 1 and 3, so frets 9 and 12, 1 E and a 2, and a T E and a 4. Hey Louis. Great live stream. Wow. Thank you very kindly. That's a warm thing to hear, and it's a great way to start the day. Hearing the praise. So we don't hear praise often enough, and sometimes we can sort of wonder about how to receive praise. And the best thing that I've witnessed is to just genuinely be thankful. So thank you very much. All right, so we have a little bit of a stretch coming here, but I wanted to do one more workout with that 1 and 4. So I think I'm going to do, so typically 1 and 4 would be like the stretch would be here. I'm going to see if we can just work it a little bit harder today to get down to a, 1, 2, so what do we have? Like typical would be stretch back to here, to 8. Let's stretch back to 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 frets between. So I'm going to have to be cognizant. I'm going to have to really pay attention that my fingers don't slip and do like a 3-fret spread. This is something that is so easy and it's so terribly easy to overlook. If you're Alan Holdsworth, Mr. Alan, the late great Mr. Alan Holdsworth, you did not overlook it. This was your career. 1 E and a 2 and a T E and a O and a... It's this really great angular sound too. Once in a while you can hear whether you're flavor. So sometimes this will come out in my guitar playing, right? So this will come out in some of my improvisations. I'll probably adapt it so that it's like diatonic to the key of the moment, but this is just one of those things where I'm really feeling the stretch right here, and I'm really, if you're not feeling the burn, you must be made a, you know, $6 million man or whatever, just like, or woman. But here we go. We've got that stretch. Just going to do an extended stretch here, and I know this is super exciting to watch. So, but I just don't have time to sit around and stretch for the whole live stream. Otherwise, I would. I would definitely stretch, but for the entire live stream, I probably wouldn't do that. Probably would do something like peen clicks, similar to what I'm doing now. Have to pop my hand off the fretboard. Yeah, did you feel it? I was feeling it. It was like ready. It was on fire, like for a hot minute there. And you know what happened? I stopped breathing. So every time I start feeling that burn, I think to myself, man, I'm stopped breathing. And as soon as I get a huge breath in and feed that tissue what it needs, it goes away. So this is a moment that I take to remind myself that every time I exercise the guitar, primary interest is in the breath. If I can't control my breath, I can't control really anything else in my life, right? So breath is super important for me, you know, and I keep thinking when I get irritated, you know, breath, Jason, breath, and it's becoming easier and easier all the time. And I say that, and I'll be punished for saying that later today, but not punished, but it will resurface, I think, to test me again later today. But I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. But super simple breathing techniques, just super easy stuff. Scott Sterling says, my biggest issue with anything regarding consistency is really needing some outside structure to follow through. I thank the algorithm gods for bringing me here and you in turn for the environment. Wow. I wasn't sure like how any of this was going to work. I just wasn't sure about how it's going to, you know, in a non-commercial setting. I think I always liked, like for example, we started a conservatory of music. I founded and directed a conservatory of music, but it wasn't a conservatory in the sense that you might think it was a conservatory. It was non-graded, and adults, learners of all ages, and they loved it. They just loved it. Learn at their own pace, no stress, self-improvement, you know, studying the things that we know and love. Why would we do anything else? 60-40, I guess. 60-40, 60% things you like, 40% things you don't like. Or I don't know if it's the other way around, but I do know that if there's no deposit, there's no return. So that keeps me coming back to the table. You keep me coming here too. So this encouragement works both ways. It works both sides of the fence. So build yourself a schedule in Excel. Oh yeah. I had to do that. I actually had to draft the schedule. It took me 3 weeks to write my schedule. It was a 14-hour day or something like that, 16-hour day, and then my wife says, you should probably get it down to about 8. So I'm back up to like 12 or something like that. Really up to 20, but it's not all guitar practice. Some of it's recording, some of it's production, some of it's, it's just, it is important to kind of prioritize the things that we love in life. Yeah. The people we love. Super important. Okay, all right, so let's jump into this. This is just a really simple, just getting that thumb. And I'm using no fingernails here, too. This is a total folk approach to the guitar. is quite a bit different. You know, it's more like classical, or what you might see Matteo and Mancuso do. Like the fingers are sort of like reaching for the strings, and you would see that typically. But I don't have any fingernails left; they're all off. So for whatever reason, but you could actually, when you're doing this thumb pattern, you don't need fingernails. So what happens is we do this, we'll get blisters here, will be painful. Hopefully you can manage that problem, get through that whole problem. You know how to manage blisters. I wouldn't use moleskin or anything like that, super glue. I would get to the point where the skin starts to separate, but don't push it any further. Let it heal overnight. Just stay at it, but don't. I would recommend not reaching the point of injury. I played my guitar until my fingers bled. It was the summer of '69. It's cool if you want to do that, if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead. But I would also recommend that for some reason I'm thinking not sure what that is, it's all about. But that steadiness is coming from 60 beats a minute, just plucking through the string, hitting that low E string, and literally falling into the next higher string. I'm exaggerating the amount of pressure needed to use, that we need to use, because I want it to translate okay from me to you. But this is, I could really play a lot with a lot less force. Focusing on breathing, and in order to get the mechanic of this correct, I expect to play this for, I don't know, 350 times. I mean, does that seem unreasonable? It's probably consistent with what you expect in order to do anything correctly right. I never do anything right the first time around. It takes me usually 350 times to get it right. So I would just encourage you to just work on this pattern. This is the pattern we need before we even introduce any left hand, fret hand. I don't mean to marginalize left-hand guitar players. So my fret hand, please forgive me. So my picking hand now is just working on down, 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 up on the G string. And that's all we're going to do. We're just going to compare the finger picking pattern. 4, 1, and up on the G string. So we'll get the next finger on the G. And then we come down 1, and on beat number 2, we're going to pinch. We're just pinching like an eagle picking or an osprey picking a salmon, or whatever out of the lake. We're just kind of doing the old eagle claw, pinching in a way. Just pull, pressure, and pull, pressure, and pull. We don't need a lot. It's not like, there's no A and S standard, there's no pressure standard for this. But it is just that it's a feel thing. So I would probably try, though you can see, like, that's not really great for me. So I would start by, I don't want to lose the downward momentum, that rest. So when I pull up on the middle finger, I have to remember that that thumb technique does not want to change, but I really want those two tones to execute at exactly the same time. So problem number 1, this is the barrier for entry into the finger picking work, right? I'm coming with the middle finger, I'm coming up and over. This hurts a little bit because my fingers, this is the part that came off of the mandolin. That's alright, take one for the team. So I'm just kind of pulling up and away, nice, easy, simple finger technique. The thumb is still, the middle coming up and away. It's not coming to the next smaller string and resting. We're not doing what is apoyando or here yet. I forget which one is called the rest stroke and the free stroke in flamenco.
B.
So
Yeah.
either way, it's the free stroke. This is the rest stroke. So we're performing two separate techniques here, which is a little, So we're coming down through. Oh, I think I got it finally. 350 times later, finally got it. So I could also work on slightly offsetting those. So or getting together or getting like slightly after. But keeping my thumb on the beat. Even if it's just a split second, before the downstroke, it's still a separation, and we can perceive the melody a little more clearly like that. So here's the first part. So if we have the thumb up, and then thumb, index, and then together. Thumb, index, together. Thumb, index, together. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Simple stuff, but if we don't do it, we'll never know the joys of fingerstyle or finger picking guitar. And this is just a little arrangement of moving river. I think I arranged this a while ago. I forget how long. It's been around for a little while, but it's so I'm using 3 on the low E string, 3 on the B string, finger 1, finger 2. So the root and the 5th, and then the 3rd of the chord, the G, the B, is on fret 4, on the G string. And then we can do 2 things. We can use the ring finger to grab that high E string, or we can use that middle finger to do double duty. And I'm a fan of assigning both. I'm a fan of both techniques, but I'm also a fan of assigning the fingers to the top 3 strings. So index is G, middle is B, ring is high E. For this kind of exercise. So I've got to really work on that fingering too. So let's go ahead and take a look at it from this. What angle is going to be best for us here? Oh, here we go. I think this will do it. This will be sufficient. You can see the fingering here. And then you can see a little bit of what's going on. I really appreciate that, Robbie. Yep. Complicated enough for me that I would come back and just look at it. So we're at 55 minutes in. Let me come back and revisit this. The next chord, which is the one that we worked on, I need to get to this before we jump today because this is so important. Muy important. So, and muy bueno for the guitar technique. So we're using finger, like we said earlier, now we've got these fingers all stretched out, so we've earned it, we can play it now. So we have this fret 7, fret 4, fret 3.
What?
Opening up that G string. Oh, that's the secret, that's the kicker right here. That's the other kicker is by the time I hit this note again, I only hit it once. The second time I hit it, I need that pickup note to be there on this in place for this next chord, okay? So, ooh, that means I also have to transition. I have to move a lot of stuff, so I can't keep, nothing stays the same. I have to swap out this third finger for the second finger, and while I do that, I'm watching that first finger move from fret 3 on the low E string to fret 3, replacing the second finger that's moving here. Then, once I have those two in place, that fourth finger just goes for it's doing the, the leap of faith, right? So here's that. Typical, if we wanted to remain true to the stylistic approach, we would offer like a little bit of a swing to the rhythm. So it would be more like dotted 16ths or so.